Now on this video I'm going to show how I installed a Givi 605 tank bag and how I mounted my Valentine radar detector right to the tank bag. It makes a great combo. It's universal now. I have 9 motorcycles and but just by replacing the ring around the gas tank on the modern bikes, I can switch this whole unit from bike to bike to bike very, very conveniently. It's a great system if you want to have a radar detector and a tank bag for riding. Now, in my case, I want both. I want the radar detector for sure because I basically ride a lot and I don't want to pay any tickets. So what's handy about this setup that I'm going to show, if it's cold, like here it is, it's snowing and we're out riding, you can throw your jacket, sweater, extra gloves right in that tank bag. Very convenient.
Today we got a package from Vlad, and I'm hoping this is going to be the Givi bag. I've been waiting for this, and Vlad has taken the time to make sure we went through the website correctly, make sure he ordered the right one, and let's hope this is going to suit our needs. Now, because in our case, we use this as a place to put the radar detector, among other things, so let me see what we got here. And these are the rings, tank lock rings. We have 3 of these for the three bikes that are appropriate. Here's the other one in the bottom. Let's get the bag out. I'm really looking forward to this. This is an upgrade because the older one, the magnets have already started to wear through the material after, I guess, 5 years, 4 years. And Bob Navola was the one that originally suggested we get that, and it worked out great for 5 years, but the unfortunate thing, like me, things wear out. So that's always the problem. So anyway, let's put that up there. This is the new tank bag, and I'm looking at it, and I see there's little directions. Got this little ring lock here, and we're going to have to read the directions, of course. Little warranty thing. I'm not sure how this opens out. Well, we're going to figure it all out, of course. But this is really... Now, this is a hard bag as opposed to a soft one. That's a little bit different. And there's hardware inside, obviously. Place to put batteries, cameras. Now, the only bad thing about this is I wanted to do the unboxing today because if there's something I need to order, keys, oh, nice. I want to lay this out just to show it. And I will try to, when we do the install of the radar detector, which is, I'm not going to do it today. I'm not going to have the time to do it today. But I want to lay this all out. And this, I guess, is so you can put a map or phone or something in there. See? I'm going to lay this out if possible. Directions, warranty work. Oh, good. It's in every language except English. How convenient. It always is. But anyway, these are the rings that actually go on the 3 different bikes that we're going to do this for. So let me just take a look at this. Lay this out, do a little show and tell as we put this together. And I don't think we're going to do it right now. But I did want to open this up and take a look at it. And we got another thing here. I'm not sure what this is. It covers the bag, I guess. Yeah, how nice is this now? This covers the bag, so if you have a map and you're driving to Luciano's house and you can't find a pizza parlor, there you go. A strap. Keys for whatever the locking device is on this. But plenty of instructions on what I'll do today. Because it's the end of my work day here, I'm going to take this all upstairs, read it carefully, check everything out, and probably tomorrow morning get ready to put this installation. So this ought to be pretty cool. I am really looking forward to this. Now, a couple of things. This is a hard bag, not a soft one, and I'm going to have to do extensive work on it. If we were just using this for a tank bag, I'd install it in less than an hour. What's going to happen, though, I want to use this as a place to mount the radar detector, so I'm going to have to make a bracket for up here, probably an aluminum bracket something that makes it a stable platform. I need to be able to take the radar detector and move it on a hinge, and usually I use a GoPro mount for that. And I'll try to show that in detail once I get this unboxing done. Now it'll give me some food for thought, how I want to work on this. But what I think I'll do, given the fact we have so much hardware here, what I think I'll do is, now let's put this up here. See, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I was hoping this would be a lot easier. It's going to be time consuming, but this changes the whole thing because I'll be able to carry my extra battery, my tire repair stuff, but it's always a little intimidating to engineer how you want to use this. If you just want a tank bag and just put your underwear in it, well, or a slice of pizza to have on the road, it's easier. I have, and this will be a very intense thing because I need, number one, to have that radar detector right at my fingertips every time I'm riding. So I have the unboxing done tonight. I think tomorrow or the next day I'll come back to this, and we will, we have to take the other one off the bike and take all the guts out of it and figure out how we're going to do this. It'll be an interesting video the next time I get back to this project. But we have several projects in the shop right now at the same time, and I was glad to see this looks like it's going to be a full day of work for me to get this working. And we'll try to share what we learn with you. So the first tip I'd like to pass on, and I'm sure this is one that is not, somebody didn't think this through, I don't know who, but I want to mount this on 3 separate motorcycles in my collection. I have 3 modern bikes. They have interchangeable things. So I buy from Vlad the kit to mount it. Well, in the kit, this is all that's in the kit and the bolts. So here's what you know. Here's the tip. If you're going to mount it on 3 motorcycles, what you need to do is order extra ones of these. In other words, this comes with the bag, so there's only one. I have 3 horseshoes, but this has to go under the horseshoe. So in other words, if I were only to have the one of these, and this is a significant thing, these are the things that should be the first thing on a video, any video. If I decide I want to have this on more than one motorcycle, I've got to buy this. And again, probably available. Vlad is searching it out now if you can buy this separate. But you need to know that ahead of time, because supposing you had 3 bikes and Saturday comes and you want to mount up all 3. Well, if you don't have the parts, so these kits that you buy separately only have the horseshoe and bolts. But the critical thing you need is this part, which goes under here when you mount it to the motorcycle. So in other words, now I want to go to the other motorcycle. The only thing I'd have is that. So if you figure it out, once you get this, so what I'm saying is, and it's a big important thing, if you have multiple motorcycles, which pretty much all my friends do, they would not want to just buy this. Buy the bag, buy the kit for each bike, and you also have to buy one of these for every bike, or else you've got to take bolts out every time you want to move the tank bag. So what I'm thinking should happen, and maybe it'll happen, Vlad said he's going to mention to the manufacturer, since he's a dealer, it would be a great idea when you buy this, that this is included in here. That would be how this should work. So in other words, I bought all the hardware for one motorcycle. So if you're only mounting it to one motorcycle, it's a pretty straightforward thing. It should be very easy. Now I'm going to go out and do the installation, which shouldn't take long. But then the second part of this video is going to be how to fit the radar detector, all the stuff in there, and I have to make a plate or make something to mount the radar detector. I know not everybody's going to do that. So I wanted to make this video in 2 parts. But this, I really like this sunglass thing because I always leave my sunglasses out, and I have prescription glasses. I don't want them getting damaged. This is a very nice feature. I think all the radar detector wiring will fit right in here. And there's a place, by the way, there's several other things. There's a cover if you're going to have your cell phone there and use your cell phone for a GPS. Loads of nice features of it. It locks in place. So if you were to want to walk away and you can't keep an eye on a bike, now I'm pretty much never out of sight of my bike, but I realize some people are. And this gizmo is what actually hooks it to the bike. I've got to figure out how. It's probably locked. That might help. But getting familiar with a new product? Well, I guess we're going to find out. Now they also have these keys, and again, I'm just experimenting on camera because this is how the real world works. Things don't always work exactly like you thought they would. Now that's probably unlocked. Yeah, that's unlocked. Okay, so you could leave it unlocked if you trust your neighbors or your friends. Now, I wanted to put this. This is the part that goes on the motorcycle with the horseshoe. This would go somewhat like that. And when you pull it back, that locks it on. So that's really pretty neat. So it's pretty straightforward. This has to go. We got to take some screws off. There's some spacers go underneath here, washer spacers. It locks or it doesn't lock. They do have directions. And like I said, the first part of this video is to get this mounted to where it replaces the Chase Harper magnetic bag. So the whole reason for replacing this is almost a brand new motorcycle. It's about a month old. And the magnets on our bag after 4 or 5 years have kind of worn through. And I had put the clear protective tape, the 3M cells underneath here, and thank you Dave Midgley for sending me that, underneath here, and it's chewed the tape up already, and that's what made me want to get the mount, the one that I'm replacing it with, the Givi. So they do give you the screws, the little washers, and the little spacers. So the first thing you need to, for sure, know, and this is the one that fits an MT-09, it fits a lot of other Yamahas, but again, the way this is going to mount, there's little notches in the end here. Let me just show it if I can. But like I said, this part of it is as simple as pie. This is not the part you need to know. The part you need to know more than anything, and I'm going to emphasize it, is you do not get this with the horseshoe. You have to buy this separate for each motorcycle. And of course the bolts come with the kit. They're the right length. Sometimes the bolts are longer or shorter. You've got to make sure you don't put the long ones where the short ones go if that's on your unique motorcycle. Time you take, this is protective tape that I had on because the magnets were wearing through. And I had shown how to install this on a previous video. But anytime you do this, you want to heat it and pull it off very slow. Don't try to rip it off. You can damage the paint. And especially if you have relatively new paint. Now this is factory paint, but if you have new paint that's only a month old, might be a problem. Now the only purpose of this is to get off some of the glue residue, but the tape did a great job of protecting the tank. And if you have a magnetic tank bag, keep checking it. I got about 5 years out of that bag before the magnet started to wear through. Now one thing on an MT-09, this paint, you cannot feel these edges. That's absolutely buried and clear, just the way as if I custom painted a bike. That's really absolutely beautiful. Now I always count on any of my restorations. One of the tests you can tell if you think you have really top level stuff, if you can't feel those paint edges, then you are at the top. And same thing with the decals. If you close your eyes, you can't feel that. That is as good as I could make it. So step one, to lay out the horseshoe, and it tells you what 3 bolts are going to have to come out. Pretty self-explanatory. I would always save the bolts carefully because they're going to get replaced and they're going to have little spacers underneath them. And of course the bolts they give you have to be just a little bit longer than the ones you take out. Now of course with that underneath the bolt and the horseshoe would mean there's the difference in length of the bolts, and that gets spaced up so that you have a little clearance, and it mounts that bag just a little bit higher up so it doesn't scratch the paint. So those little spacers go into the holes. The next thing is this has got to line up, and there's little tangs along the edge that have to line up, and then we can put the bolts that come with the kit that are a little bit longer. This is kind of a relatively simple, straightforward thing. Of course, you don't want to scratch the tank. I don't want to scratch anything, to be honest. Pretty straightforward. Now, I assume these bolts don't have to be overly tight, since we'll get to check them, and if they loosened up, only one would loosen up more than likely, or if you sort of bag flopping around. But I know this is going into, I don't want to strip this, that's for sure. And just put relatively hand tight would be fine. Now I also want to check something while I have this here. Would go to reason, stand to reason, you've got to be able to take the bag off to fuel the bike. Now, a couple of things I like as opposed to the magnetic bag. This is really solid. It seems a little loose, that there's a little clearance in there. I'm going to see if there's anything I can do about that, but that doesn't really matter. But now the next step, and of course if you're not going to mount the radar detector, you're done with the video, go mount the bag. But I'm going to take this downstairs and try to mount up, bring the other bag in and mount up my radar detector and screamer to the top of this. Now the final thing is the lock, which means you can't get this off now with the key, and obviously don't lose the key. If you lock that on and you lose the key, see, I'm always thinking of this, ask me why, and you lose the key or forget to bring the key, what's going to happen? Probably a good place to store this would be inside the bag. What's going to happen is you're not going to be able to put gas on a bike. So once I get those other rings, and we're going to fit up our other bikes. But again, if you have multiple bikes, make sure you order that part. That's probably the best thing you can get out of this video. And that is a relatively easy, straightforward thing. Every angle I looked at it, it looks like anybody could take care of that. What's nice, this has a nice angle if you plan to use a map, a cell phone. They have that little waterproof cover. You put your cell phone in and it's waterproof, not water resistant. It straps down here to these straps. So what's nice is if you're using that for a GPS, I can picture that would really be handy. But for us, the main thing, the number one reason we even have a tank bag is not only to carry tools and the paraphernalia, but is that radar detector. Without the radar detector, it would be not possible for us to ride. Well, there's a Valentine radar detector, and we have to, I'm not sure we're going to be able to use that little plate and just mount that plate up here since we don't use a cell phone or a GPS. And I can probably put my little tripod inside now. And I have camera batteries in here. Spare camera batteries for shooting video and everything. So this will be a little involved, but the first thing is to take this whole unit off of that bag and try to lay it out and see how it's going to fit in this bag. So these are the parts that go into the Valentine. It's the screamer. The screamer wires in to a plug. This plugs into the Valentine. All of this hardware is just connectors and fuses and things. And then you have this little box that all has to go inside. So that's what makes this, having this all in a tank bag, makes this very convenient. Now just to figure out how I want to do it. Yeah, it looks pretty self-explanatory. Now I have this piece that goes inside. I may have to modify it. Otherwise, what happens with the other bag, it would every time you'd hit a bump, it would move. So this, just like the camera mounts that I make for the jackets, this keeps it from every time you hit a little bump moving around, which is just annoying. Now, just to show you how this works on a GoPro mount on a jacket, inside there's a piece of carbon fiber, and all that does is stiffen this up so this can't move back and forth, back and forth. And the same technology looks like it's going to work. I'm only going to have to drill 2 holes here, and it looks like that's going to be pretty easy. All the wires go down in through here. There's a port, and this may not be as big a deal. I may even get a test ride today. I'm hoping I do, or tomorrow. That tape will help me line up the holes so I get this in exactly the place I want. Now, I know that it's really important to have this waterproof, and of course the radar protector. And this does have a plastic bag, which I'll leave inside. If it rains, we just put that bag right over the whole thing. That'll be very handy. By the way, a good way to drill any of these plastic things with a step drill and a low speed. And that nice tight fit on there just in case that ever gets wet, water won't get in there. And if you were really paranoid, you could seal it with a little bit of silicone. Now, since I had made these parts up before, made this a little bit easier, but this is going to have to wire in. This piece makes this adjustable, and it really doesn't have to be as adjustable as I made it, but let's get that on there. You need to put the nuts on that, tighten up the nuts, and once that's tight, this will be adjustable up to a point, and we got the screamer right where we want it, right in our face. So that part of it worked out great. Now, just as a safety thing, I have this JB welded to the piece underneath it. And just in case, everything on here I make super heavy duty, because if this ever comes off, it's expensive. It could ruin your whole day. So with that mounted, the screamer wire now has to go down through here. I don't know if this will fit. It looks like it'll fit. If it isn't, I got to open that. I'm going to have to open that hole up with a knife, I guess. And our little piece in the back here, this keeps it, hopefully keeps it pretty stable. We won't know until we ride the bike. I had to take a knife and open that up just a little bit, maybe a 1/16 of an inch more to get that wire to go in. That takes care of that. Now we got to get all the guts. The next step on this is to get all the guts inside. And I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work out. And then we have to route this wire back out, because this is going to be the one that powers it up. Now, it looks like the wiring on this is going to work out better than I thought, and we have plenty of room here. In fact, I can bundle some of these wires up. And the last thing is our power. I have to make this big enough that I can get the power port through there. Not sure. I gotta open that up just a little. No, it's gonna go. And then that is our power. We got the screamer wired. We have that. So far, so good. Now, I had this container in the old bag, but I thought I'd try to upgrade this. All this stuff, I can put a notch in here. Actually, I can do that right now. I can put a notch in here so that everything stays in here. Actually, put the lid on that. That's a really good idea. So what I did, I have a notch in there, and hopefully all this will go in here. I can spread that apart. Now, I never shortened any of these wires because I didn't, when I bought this, I originally thought one of my master plans was going to be I could use it for the car as well, but I never wound up using it in the car. Since it's a minivan, I think there's not much chance I'm going to be going to jail for speeding. Okay, so that worked out better than I could have ever thought. Wow. Sometimes you win. Now I've got to figure out, the trick is going to be where I can put the rest of the stuff that I normally take with me. Now, because electrical things are not my favorite part of motorcycle restoration, I'll take this before I do anything. And obviously, everything's wired well. Everything's good. Once this has to be extra long because I'm going to try to move the wire to the other side of the bike, maybe. We can see that, but everything so far has worked out. This has been a really nice install. Now, I can put stuff up here and zip that up. I got room here. I actually have room for, this is the thing I thought was going to be useful for putting sunglasses, camera batteries, extra GoPro, whatever. So everything fit in there pretty good, including my spare $20 bill, so I don't run out of gas. The Easy Pass. The only thing I haven't got yet, because I have a problem with the Bright Tech jumper battery, and I haven't resolved it yet, but I'm sure there's room here. There's plenty of room. I checked it fit. And I will wrap that up in a microfiber just so it doesn't bounce around. This worked out as good as I could have ever expected. In the last part of this video, I'm going to try to get a little test ride just to see how comfortable this is, and make sure I haven't left out anything that this might jumping off the bike. I'm hooking up the wire here, and I guess there's no point even moving it. Now the extra wire that's here, I can just feed back in. It's not going to hurt anything.
And one little detail I can do is cut a little piece of this wire protector, and just to make it look a little more neat. And it just makes it look just a little bit neater. And the best, one of the things I can do, because this wire now, I was picking up the juice from the other side, I can, next rainy day, I'll move that wire over to this side of the tank, and it'll just make that a little bit neater of an installation. But I think right now, that couldn't be any better. Wow. No, that just, again, that just really worked out nice. And when you sit on a bike, a person my height, doesn't obscure the instruments, that just couldn't have worked out nicer. Thank you, Vlad. So that completes the installation and the radar installation. We still have a little time left over today to get a short ride. So if all you're interested in is the beginning of this video, we're just going to head out for a little ride. And if you don't want to join us, time to delete this video.
That was a very nice installation. And we have enough time left over to get a ride in. How bad can that be?
Now, from an appearance point of view, this really looks a lot less offensive than the other one did, because the magnets aren't drooped over the tank. So you actually get to see more of the tank and more of that beautiful Yamaha finish. And boy, they did a beautiful job on this. And on the previous videos, we polished the wheels, polished the exhaust. I'm trying to do a lot of little detail improvements, and we have the carbon fiber parts already drying. Just have to buff them out for the nose. And maybe when winter gets here, we're going to get some kind of a little windshield. I hear guys riding right behind me. They're all out already. It is a beautiful day. I don't have a lot of time, but I have time for a short test ride with the new Givi tank bag.
And I always like to test everything.
So the tank bag looks like it's going to just work perfectly. It doesn't obscure the instruments or anything. Doesn't seem to get in your way. And it's perfect for the radar detector. That was really worthwhile. And I like the way it looks a lot better.
And it was a beautiful day to get a test ride. And it's a beautiful time of year. The leaves are going to turn soon. And we use that radar detector every single day. When I was riding the bike when it was new and it had no radar detector, oh.
Yeah, it turned out to be a beautiful riding day after all. Glad we got that tank mounted up this morning and still got a ride.
I like the way that tank bag looks a lot better than the other one. And when you're riding it, you don't even know it's there. It's not in your field of vision. I'm not sure I'm going to have to move the video camera up a little bit on the jacket. And as soon as we get the parts, we'll do the other two bikes. We still need the parts. And this time of year, brisk, blue skies, what could be better? And it seemed like there were a lot of guys out riding today, too. What a day. What a day to remember. Always nice when you can get some shop work and get a ride in on the same day. And this time of year, we'll take every ride we can get. Nice and cool, and there aren't any leaves on the roads yet. As soon as those leaves start falling, then we have to just back it down a notch, or 2 notches. But for right now, it's like riding on clean roads. Perfect.
So my overall opinion, the Givi 605 is a great addition to any motorcycle, especially if you need some storage space or you need a radar detector mount. In this case, I have both, and it worked out great on the MT-09. I wanted to show what it looks like from the cockpit. It's really out of your field of vision. It's not a problem at all. You don't have trouble with it like you have with a rear bag getting on and off the bike. For me, it suits my riding style to a T. It's a great addition to any bike, the Givi 605, and thank you, Vlad, for all your help getting it. Now, if you're new to our channel, we have a very eclectic channel. One of the new features we have now is some of the videos are grouped into groups that you can access all the videos for one category in one mouse click, and it should be very convenient and very handy. Just check out the feature on the main screen, playlists. And thanks to everybody for supporting the channel. We appreciate your support, and it makes this channel possible with all the things we do, the painting, the wheels, the polishing. And please take a second or two and hit the like button. And thanks everyone for watching.